fact, I remember, he had the curler and I had the sprinkle.
Really? If that's the case, then how do you clean?
Innocent.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Captain Quasar, and welcome back to another unofficial H3 waiting room. We are going to be talking about the responses from both Denims and Kaceytrons. So, it should be interesting. Quite a few things to look at. We also have some Reddit posts to look at first. Starting with a shout out to Grape Tickler, because I got this post from them, and that's how I did the thumbnail. So I wanted to give them a little shout out. Sorry, I need to post these two. It's my bad I'm running a little late. Things happen, you know? That's life. But I'm here now, right? Right? Listen to that. Beautiful. Right on cue. How about that Hassan guy, eh? Am I right?
The great news that not only did we win,
Okay. Sorry, I'm like making sure these are all sent. Okay, there we go. I had to close that.
Yo, let me tell you a little story. It's sad but true. It's about your boy Cav and Brad the
I don't remember what's in this playlist of songs that I have playing right now. I'm gonna have to pause it during these videos, but you know what? I'll just save it for when we do the actual reading of the legal defenses, because there are quite a few videos in here. So, yep, Denims is a good dummy name, and I just thought this was really a good image, so wanted to make sure I included it. And then I have a couple things that aren't really that important, kind of just more memey, so I thought they were kind of good to add in at the beginning. Oh boy, big news. Keem gets emotional after it's announced Wings is back on LolCal Live. I don't know if he's coming back for, like to be a returning guest, or if he's going to be a host again, or what. So, but he is going to be back on. I didn't look too much into it because it's LolCal Live, and mainly just here for the clips, you know what I mean?
The new cast for LolCal Live starting tomorrow for season 1. Boogie 2988, the legend himself, DJ Killer Keemstar, and Wings of Redemption. He's making his return to the LCU to come back to LolCal Live. So everybody, let me see W's in the fucking chat for Wings of fucking Redemption.
How did you close that?
What are my thoughts on the AI slop in the remix competition? I'm gonna bring some negativity right now. I haven't heard too much AI slop, but I imagine it's I haven't really looked through too many submissions. I heard one submission I liked a lot. I could pull up actually, but I haven't looked too much into them. I'm not surprised that someone just went into, what's it called? Like, here, let me do it right now. Here's my I have one of these accounts. It should log me in immediately, right? Yep, here we go. Create a song about Ethan Kleins H3 Productions in boom bap hip hop style. I know this has nothing to do with Kavanaugh, but I just want to see how well this could be made. Or not Kavanaugh, what am I talking about? About Clancy. Because you can add audio to this, so you could literally submit the audio of, on Suno, you could literally submit the audio of Dan Clancy doing the rap, and it can do a remix of it. Or I don't know if it would remix it, actually. I don't know if it just create something similar, maybe. But you can add your own lyrics and stuff too. So theoretically, you could do it all through this. Just giving everybody a little bit of a hint. Here, let's just hear the song about Ethan Kleins. This is zero effort. This is pure slop.
Sitting in the chair with the beanie pulled tight. Ethan Kleins on the mic, spitting truth all night. H3 podcast got the world in a spin. From goofs to the news, yeah, he's always locked in. The beard's thick, but the wit is sharper. Dropping punchlines like a verbal barber. Fake clouds rise, but the jokes stay grounded. His crew's a vibe, yeah, the energy's rounded. Ethan Kleins, he's the real deal find. Cut through the noise with the...
I'll get sued by Suno if I play too much of it because I don't technically own it. I don't pay for this AI shit. I use whatever free stuff I can because it's funny when I'm like messing around with friends. Jersey Lawman is tasteful with it. There was this one with super creepy AI animations that had a surprising amount of upvotes. That is really weird. See, I don't have a problem with like AI like voice modulation or whatever if they want to like use the like to voiceover or whatever. Something like that isn't that bad. Thumbnail is giving H3 Goosebumps vibes. I thought it was pretty good. I kind of liked it. My fiance said she did not like it, and I was like, fair enough. But sorry, let's get back into this. Wings of Redemption coming back to Locale Live. What?
What the fuck are we giving up? What am I giving up? What?
I didn't lie. I didn't have a single phone call with Wings, but we closed the deal via text.
How? What? Oh my God.
It doesn't matter. Let the maestro work, bro. And for those I'm gonna be in the Discord. I ain't going nowhere. When something comes up, I'm sure whatever will happen. But thank you for everything. I just want to say that. Tommy C was live. I super chatted to him, and I said, "Hey, Cafe was my baby. Just treat her right. That's all I'm asking."
I love you, Ken.
We love you, Ken.
Well, I know that. I appreciate that, and thank you for everything. Genuinely, it's been 2 years. It's been a wild ride, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So,
pouring out for Ken.
Appreciate it.
Did he actually just pour some drink onto his floor?
Been 2 years. It's been a wild ride, and I wouldn't.
Okay, he has like a bucket or something right here.
Any other way. So,
pouring out for Ken.
Appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna head out of here. Y'all have a great rest of your show. Until next time.
See you, bro. Dude, how? Why? How?
Why is Keemstar actually crying?
Dude,
it's fine if he's like
how?
if he's just joking around,
Why?
but like
how?
it looks like he's genuinely tearing
how?
up a little bit.
I don't know.
Dude, I don't care how. I don't care how. We're going to save that man's life. He's going to help make our show great. Oh my God, we're going to make so much money. Dude, I love Jordan. I can't believe you pulled it off.
Isn't he supposed to not be drinking Mountain Dew anymore? Is it diet? Hopefully it's diet.
Keem, you're emotional, man. I don't blame you.
I don't know why I'm emotional. I think it's the music. It's just Buggy, it's been hell. It's been hell.
It's been a rough few months, dude. See, from Fat to today has been hell.
It's been hell to keep this thing going.
They had to make sure it was really sold, you know? We can't have it be... Well, if it was just raw emotion, you know, we might start crying too. We have to have it play out like a movie with a little bit of music in the background.
I always knew Jordy was important to the show, just like you, just like me.
You guys fired him. What are you talking about?
But I never knew how hard it was going to be without the secret sauce, man.
There's just something about having Tommy back and then having Wings back and, having Ken, who was like one of the like top fans, like do the announcement. It's a lot.
It's
bro.
a lot.
It's better.
I guess I just didn't notice. What is Boogie's background right now? He's got two giant skeletons, like, you know, the ones you see in Halloween, like during Halloween time. And then he's got just a bunch of fucking bananas everywhere. I hope these are fake because these are all gonna go bad in like You can throw them in the freezer, but you can only make so much banana bread. Just being honest.
It's been a war. It's been a fucking war, and I'm just glad that we're getting a good chapter. We're getting a good chapter. That's all.
Thank God.
Yeah, the background's just covered in bananas. Oh, is this the AI one? I don't like how I don't like that it's actually not that. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. No, it's getting too good. It's just the fact that even with any faults that you can find, this used to take like a fucking team of animators and like... I don't like this. I don't like this. It's getting too good. No, don't AI fucking dude, no. Oh, no. No, it's not the same. Oh, it's not the same. It's not the same as if someone just drew him or if someone just did... What is this? What are all these little... You didn't even do like a good job trying to edit these things out, man. Was this just the best render you could get? I hate this. I'm not gonna watch it all the way. Nah. Okay. Nah. Okay. No. I hate this so much. I mean, again, yeah, I know some effort went into this, but the real question is how much. They should have made a video explaining the step-by-step process of how they made it to show us the amount of effort it took. I'm like, the skeleton is the real Wings. They uploaded his soul to the computer. So true. Wings is coming back as an AI. I didn't use any AI in my track, just saying. The video includes me playing the guitar too. You're gonna win purely just because you actually made the music. People aren't even gonna prefer it over other songs. They're just gonna go, well, I mean, it's real, so... Okay. Okay, we'll go with this one. Everybody just looks a little bit off, too. Like, they hired just, like, really good actors. But the AI is just getting... Because obviously everyone's going to be like, well, look in the background. This doesn't make any sense. Yes, but in passing... Here's something real. Is this AI? Rocky was a little too feisty.
See the sights. Oh my God, do you guys see him? You're a little feisty. He a little feisty.
Hey, Lena, Jesus Christ, you made me fucking swerve off the road, god damn it. You okay?
Yeah, he didn't bite me.
Jesus, that woke me up.
It's a pretty good one. He did get a little feisty. Look at the snarl he does.
Hey, Lena, Jesus Christ, you made me fucking swerve off the road, god.
I tuned in for a little bit during their road trip, but I didn't get to see this part. I wish I did live because I would have been commenting something. Nothing is real. I'm telling you, bro, this is all AI. I'm AI. I've been AI this whole time. That's why I fuck up reading stuff all the time. It's because my AI is just shit. Not only am I AI, I'm a shitty AI. A lot of H3 fans are old people, and old people are obsessed with AI. No. No. Tom posted this for some reason. I follow Tom, and I didn't see this one. It kind of made me mad that I didn't see it myself. I wish these two would just hold hands and jump off a bridge together. For those of you who can't see, it's Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively. But just a quick little post, you know. Just something that was on Tom's mind, I guess. It's on all our minds, I suppose. Hassan says Ethan Klein is a valid target for violence. Now we're gonna get into like a few the heart of these Reddit stories. Nothing Israel? Israel? You know, you might be onto something. So, okay, starting again from the top. Hassan says Ethan Klein is a valid target for violence. Let's see how he says this.
Matter if they're DFLP, PFLP, or even former Fatah militants. Okay? It is perfectly legal, perfectly valid, and perfectly moral. Okay? 100%. This is not like this is not a gray area. This is black and white. Okay? It doesn't get more black and white than this. Israel's in the wrong. Israel is actually engaging in an apartheid, which is a crime in and of itself. Israel's doing a genocide in Gaza and an apartheid in the West Bank. 2 crimes in and of itself. And every type of armed resistance against both the settlers and also the Israeli occupying force in the West Bank. Doesn't matter if it's your favorite podcasters like Wife that participate in these Iranians. Doesn't matter if they're...
It's just crazy. Because he's just... It's quite possibly the loudest dog whistles ever. Like, yeah, he's not outright saying Ethan Klein, but your favorite podcaster's wife who was included on these raids. But I'm speaking if in the context of when she would have been in that period, not now. Even though we speak of all like former fucking IDF soldiers as if they are current IDF soldiers. But everybody's been going to bat for Hila. It's pretty sweet to see. Hutch throwing haymakers. If anybody hasn't seen Hutch, he's been coming out strong in support of Ethan. Just because, I mean, I feel like it's good to see different people coming out in support because it's proving that it's not just like sometimes it makes me question because it's the vocal minority that comes out so adamantly about the things that they hate. You know what I mean? So they're going to come at us and be overwhelming with all this stuff. And it makes you wonder, like, am I in the wrong? When you get overwhelmed, you know, info dumps, stuff like that, like it makes you wonder, well, maybe I did, maybe I need to reconsider my evaluation. So it makes me feel good when I see some other people speaking out, not just in support of the beliefs themselves, but also in support of the individuals that share similar ideology. You know, we all got to find our people, you know? We would hope that there's more people similar to us than different. But there's more people willing to, you know, just be submissive and subservient and just, you know, stand idly by than that are willing to speak up and speak out. So be a good person. It isn't that hard. But Hutch said, I fucking hate Twitter. I hate having to like figure out where to start. So Noah Sampson said, everyone in the West is complicit in Israel's genocide in Gaza. But there are varying degrees of complicity. Are taxes being sent to Israel? Yes, but that's being done against our will and against everything we advocate for. Ethan Klein volunteered to join IDF terrorists. So again, I think Hutch says it, but none of you actually believe that Hila is an IDF terrorist for her forced conscription service at 18 years old when she worked a fucking desk job and did one tag along without a weapon. It's a lie, a cheap way to gain internet clout with your rabidly psychotic audiences. And the thing that I find interesting in this is you have the same ability to not, like, you can not pay your taxes at the threat of, prison time, in the same way that Hila could have not joined the IDF. It's that simple. So if you want to act like, I don't, just shut the fuck up. Like, it's really just pointless. You can say that, like, it's it's not the only thing that my taxes go to. Like, that would be a better argument, at least. Like, I pay my taxes in the hopes that my advocation will eventually lead to the taxes being used for more beneficial means towards my community and also globally. But that's not what you're saying. You're just saying that it isn't equivalent when it quite literally just is. I don't think people fully understand that these creators are fully aware of how extreme their audiences have become. Noah reminds his audience that they have proximity to propagandists, then prods them to escalate because protesting did nothing. Ethan Kleins was a member of the EDP. I remember I've seen her ID card for the EDP. Her number was 445. Alex going mad with power again. Don't talk shit to Alex in chat, he'll ban you. But here, Hutch was going on a bit of a tirade, making, really replying to these lunatics, but this is just blatant stochastic terrorism, lol. You would have to bend yourself into a pretzel to avoid recognizing that. I believe Hila is an IDF terrorist based on her current opinions on what Israel is doing. Notice how they didn't give any examples. Her current opinions, such as that Yoav Gallant's a good guy. Remember, she said that. I do want to create like a little bit of an archive of just clips that I can just pull out every time that I need to. Not just of Ethan and Hila, but of different people that I kind of have... not even people that I disagree with, that I just agree with necessarily. Add in people I disagree with too, to just get like full, well-rounded perspectives to be able to analyze stuff appropriately. Because I feel like people way too often just try and just lie. They lie about things or make some kind of conflation to a statement made in error. Then they try and use that conflated with their current beliefs on like a different principle, and then ignore any type of clarification on the actual retracted statement. Again, sometimes I say things and I'm like, I don't think that made any sense, but made sense to me, and that's what matters. But Hutch replied to the person saying that Hila is an IDF terrorist based on her current opinions. That also doesn't make any sense. You can't be an IDF terrorist based on opinions. You'd have to be an active part in the military, but okay. Hutch said, you want a kid, I'm assuming he meant a kid, or kids. You want kids who just turned 18 in Israel at the tail end of the Second Intifada to go to jail instead of serving in the IDF. And yet the extent of your own activism is in this moment is constantly screeching on Twitter. You could participate in so many different forms of radical activism, and yet all you do is this. Pathetic. Refuse to pay taxes and go to jail. Do literally anything meaningful. I mean, if we literally just flooded their prison systems by all these people that just refuse to pay taxes, it would probably it would send some kind of a message, right? It would overwhelm the prisons in some regard. Try it out. It's worth a shot. I would never talk shit to discount Link from Good Mythical Morning. Good Mythical Morning is my comfort show. I was about to call it my comfort food, but then I realized that I'd be eating on that Rhett and Link. But But different people continue to reply to Hutch. You are rightly being dragged because normal people recognize there is a massive fucking difference between paying taxes and asking to join raids in a place you call a terrorist city. Take the L, dipshit. Well, let's remember, she called it a terrorist city because they were going in there doing raids raids on suspected terrorist homes. We'll just call them that if you want to argue. Like, they didn't know if they were really terrorists. The point that they made was that they went in. She said she went into Ramallah. Their car got hit with bullets. Their armored truck they were in got hit with bullets. They went to a couple houses. She went up to one house. I don't think she said she went in. She went up to one house. She said that they found guns in the house, which I think is to imply that they had like illegal arms. And yeah, I mean, by all metrics, I mean, if you want to say that the occupation alone makes it illegal and makes it wrong, fair enough. But I mean, they are quite literally just doing what is within the laws of the, like, in the area that they're in. They aren't really overstepping any means if they have some. And I also don't think Hila would have, even if they were doing something illegal in that raid, I doubt Hila would have any knowledge of that, about like the ins and outs and intricacies of the like logistics of the raid. That post where Noah was snarking this Israeli kid making an incredible sacrifice made me way angrier than I've ever been at any of these. See, I think Noah really is just an idiot, if we're being completely honest. In the red house, where black people and white people buy furniture. Is that it? Did I get that right? That's Rhett and Link, anybody that doesn't know. Didn't they also do Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage? Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage. Isn't that also Rhett and Link? But then Gato Fumador said Ethan Kleins is on record admitting to her participation in the forced disappearance. This is what we just talked about, what I just said they did in Ramallah. And someone quote tweeted that and said, in reply to Hutch, saying, you're either ignorant, stupid, or getting paid to push this narrative. Ethan Kleins, under her own admission, participated in a night raid to abduct Palestinians in an occupied territory because she was bored with her secretary job in the IDF. This is a perfect litmus test, because if you see this clip and then come to the conclusion that she was a bloodthirsty soldier, you're probably having a psychotic episode. Which, fair point. I feel like he was probably just getting tired of actually trying to, really, like, work with what they're saying. It's at some point you kind of just have to shit talk back. Like, he's making a point, but it's kind of just like, okay, whatever. So this is the last one, but someone said she participated in the violent occupation of the West Bank. Her IOF buddies kidnapped a Palestinian from Ramallah, or as Hila and Ethan described it, a terrorist city, and she shows neither remorse or guilt for what she did. And Hutch replied, you know absolutely fuck all about who they picked up on that raid, lol. Neither did she. She was an 18-year-old kid who was bored and went on a tag-along without a gun. You guys are acting like she's the equivalent of an SS soldier marching people into the ovens. Am I misremembering things, or has Kitty profile picture been Kitty Fumador been exposed as a neo-Nazi? I don't know. I don't know too much about them, to be completely honest. Yeah, not gonna lie, Hila's raid was so long ago, most people who are mad about it could not point Gaza on a map when it happened. Yeah, I mean, at the time, I bet anybody that was listening to the podcast at that time went, oh, I don't know any of the shit they're talking about. The Middle East? The Near East? But everybody's been coming out in defense of Hila because of what Hassan had to say. Oh, I should have left that one of Hassan open. I can pull it back up. There it is. When I need it, I have it. But Tom said, so posting Hutch going, Hassan calls Hila a valid military target. Tom said, I've had enough with Hassan and his fucking goon squad. No matter where you stand on Israel-Palestine, how could you target someone like @Klein Hila? She's generous, kind, caring, and an amazing wife, mother, and boss. And she hasn't harmed anyone. So go fuck yourself. Real shit, Tom. Saint Nick and Nicholas Diorio, Nicholas Eats Oreos, as Hassan would like to call him, calls for Hila support, saying support for Ethan Klein is pivotal right now. And then he went on to do this, which I thought was pretty funny.
So I needed to really visualize what I actually think of the pro-Palestinian content creators who can't possibly be criticized. So I went into Photoshop and I built this. And this is just kind of how I feel. This is like my feelings-based argument. I think this is probably the best representation of online politics in 2025, is just like a child getting hit with grenades, rockets, and knives from the sky, and Hassan Piker screaming at his TV watching an Ethan Klein clip surrounded by money. This is probably the most accurate representation when Hassan Piker's like, you guys don't even care about the dying children and starving children in Gaza. Like, this is what I see in my head, and I finally have made it a picture so you guys can understand what the fuck I'm thinking when I see stuff like this happen. Nick is so empathetic, he gave Hassan a normal-sized head. It's funny that you mentioned that, because Lazy Shell absolutely...
You know what? I don't think I watched this clip all the way through. That's pretty good.
They didn't. Also...
It's pretty good. It looks nice. But Lonerbox then came out and brings up an important question. If Ethan Klein was doing her secretary job underneath a hospital, would she still be a valid target? Saying because the way Hamas sets up, different bases and things underneath civilian occupied structures, which then become valid military targets. And it's just like, it's just stupid too, because Hassan's point doesn't make any sense because he's talking about morality. Harming somebody is never morally right. What are you talking about? You can think it's justifiable or that it's legally, like, you know what I mean, like legally valid or something, but it's never morally okay to harm somebody, like, for any reason, I feel like. But maybe I'm just maybe I'm crazy. Cry bully Hassan Piker says Ethan's insane for thinking he said Hila should be murdered, then shifts blame on Ethan.
We're not trying to bring your mood down or anything, but this is going way too far at this point. You should totally get the police involved. Oh, this. So if I started saying Hassan is Hamas propagandist and therefore a legit military target, which, by the way, he does say that. What? He says that every day, which I do not believe. Everyone is going to be okay.
He's like trying to conflate again. Oh my god. I guess he's not even trying to conflate because he's trying to like divide. He's trying to like divide these two sections to make it be like, he does always say that I'm a Hamas propagandist, and then ignoring the second part, and therefore a legit military target, which Ethan has never said. Like, if you could find me one clip of that, I'd go, oh shit, Ethan probably shouldn't have said that. And then I'd say, hey, find me a second clip. But legitimately, I don't think Ethan would have ever said that because, like he said, he does not believe that. And Hassan hasn't does he take it back in this clip? Let's see. Ooh, shout out Madman. Welcome to the inner circle. My man, Madman.
With that, this is the fourth time a leftist wisher has explicit call for me or Hila's death. Nobody has been reprehended for these death threats by Twitch, not once. I've never called for a death threat against Ethan Klein or Hila Klein. That is insane. That's bull. And he knows that that's bull. He's just actively he's just actively trying to victimize himself. For comparison on YouTube, Bad Empanada played an FPS game where he played Hamas and murder Israelis. He simulated murdering Hila in a game, resulting in a week-long suspension. I don't even think that happened. It's not something that I believe. It's complete and utter nonsense. You're literally getting drama.
So that was him denouncing it. After going on for a few seconds going, it's not something I believe, whatever.
Farmed, holy fuck. No one cares about these losers. Stop giving them time. I mean, if they're trying to actively try to get me banned, I think it's important to address that. That's completely made up.
Oh my god, it's completely made up. Okay. Oh shit, wrong clip. Here we go. I have the clip over here. So let's hear what he said again.
Matter if they're DFLP, PFLP, or even former Fatah militants. Okay? It is perfectly legal, perfectly valid, and perfectly moral. Okay? 100%. This is not like this is not a gray area. This is black and white. Okay? It doesn't get more black and white than this. Israel's in the wrong. Israel is actually engaging in an apartheid, which is a crime in and of itself. Israel's doing a genocide in Gaza and an apartheid in the West Bank. 2 crimes in and of itself. And every type of armed resistance against both the settlers and also the Israeli occupying force in the West Bank. Doesn't matter if it's your favorite podcasters like Wife that participate in these raids. Doesn't matter if they're DFLP, PFLP.
It doesn't matter. To be fair, too, I mean, if we want to be super critical and be like, nitpicky about shit, you didn't say participates. You said participated. You said your favorite podcaster's wife who participated in these raids is a valid military target for armed resistance. So, you did say that. I didn't call her out by name. Yeah, it's because you're kind of like a pussy in that way too, like how you called Destiny Voldemort for that. You literally called him Voldemort. You gave him that power over you. You're a bitch. Like that's all you can say, really, right? I hate to be sexist. Hate to be sexist to Hassan, but kind of a bitch move. Stand up. I'll never get over someone saying that I force feminized a Bad Empanada by calling him Ban him a Panda. I force feminized him. That makes me want to say it more. That's so funny. The wise words from Mother Ethan Kleins herself. Hassan Piker, who was exposed by my husband to be a disgusting creep, has retaliated by calling for violence against me. Think back and you'll notice a trend. When he wants to get at Ethan, he attacks me. This is just another glimpse into the psyche of a man that does not see women as his equal. He uses women to whatever end he needs, be it revenge, sexual gratification, or to massage his ego by exposing their nude bodies without their consent to his boys. And I saw somebody say this, I think it might have been in this comment section. But basically it was, Hassan's form of feminism is just advocating for sex work. But then at some level, is he just advocating for the sex work so that it benefits him? Like, you know what I mean? Because he seems to be also a participant in sex work, being that he's been to brothels and, you know, the like, so. And it's not like I have anything against sex work. Shout out to all the men and women out there. Get y'all dicks wet, am I right? But there is a level where it does seem like, what are you advocating for? But then Hassan decided to read it, and he stops at an interesting point when reading this.
Who was exposed by my husband to be discussing creepers and retaliated by calling for violence against me. Think back and you'll notice a trend. When he wants to get at Ethan, he attacks me. This is just another glimpse into the psyche of a man who does not see women as equal. Okay, dude. This is literally girl bossing genocide defense. This is literally girl bossing genocide defense.
I like that it also that last statement almost solidifies the end point that she's making. Why did I say that? Because it's true. Like I said, we advocate for all sex work out here. You thought I was saying for female... No, I'm saying the male sex workers to get their dick wet. In whatever way, you know? That's what I'm saying. You guys aren't understanding me. But now we move into the important stuff, the good stuff. We have both of the responses from both Denims and Kaceytron. We're going to read through them. They're not very long. Only about, I think, 27 pages each. One's 13, one's 14. No, they're both 13. So 26 pages each. Just about nothing. But we'll also be looking at what they're trying to clarify in their response. But yeah, it's a little... It ain't a whole lot. Yeah, it's not clocking to you. Exactly. Exactly. It's not clocking to you when I'm talking about getting dicks wet. You don't understand. I'm a father. Pretty high level stuff. We're high level allies out here. But so I'm trying to block their names. I totally didn't do that the first time I read this through. I don't care that much, but like I'll do it for this one. I'll give them a little bit more grace. But so defendant Denims hereby answers the complaint of plaintiff Ted Entertainment. I'm going to put the music back on. I can go up a little bit. There we go. Some of these are so much quieter than others. I gotta edit these later. Here, we'll play Dink Doink in the back while I read this. Perfect. Paragraph 1. Paragraph 1. Fuck. Needs to be a little more quiet. This is going so well. There we go. Paragraph 1 contains legal conclusions to which no response is required. Notwithstanding the foregoing, defendant lacks sufficient knowledge or information to form a belief concerning the truth of the factual allegations contained therein, and on that basis denies such allegations. So the first paragraph is, I'm assuming this one. This lawsuit is the ending of Wait. So the first paragraph is just them breaking down. This lawsuit is about ending the practice of lazy reaction videos that copy entire copyrighted works and purposely siphon views and revenue away from the original. Then they talk about their previous lawsuit, and all they had to respond with that is, defendant lacks sufficient knowledge or information to form a belief concerning the truth of the factual allegations contained therein, and on the basis denies such allegation. Or maybe that's not the introduction. Maybe they mean in reply to the actual... Because this is the whole complaint, yeah? Here, wait, I have them pulled up on a separate window as well. Yeah, this is just the complaint. That should just be paragraph 1. I don't know why this is throwing me off now. Or paragraph 1 in here, maybe? No, paragraph 1 is just paragraph 1. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. What a great legal defense. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Never heard of that before. Your Honor, she's a dummy. Defendant denies the allegations in paragraph 2 of the complaint. Paragraph 2 is, This case involves a group viewing session hosted by defendant. Oh no, that's Denims. Oh no, I did it again. Specifically intending her group viewing session to siphon views and revenue away from TEI's copyrighted work. So she just denies that allegation, even though she outright said, "Thank you for watching me." It's on video of her going, "Thank you for watching me," instead of giving this views. What's good, Peter? Welcome in. Thank you, everybody that stopped in today. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. This whole thing is just so... Is this basically going to be the whole thing? It's just that she's dumb? Your Honor. Did I do that? She pulls an Urkel. Did I do that? Answering paragraph... I guess that would be more Kaceytrons' defense is the Urkel defense. Denim's defense is... Goddamn. Answering paragraph 3. Defendant lacks sufficient knowledge or information to form a belief concerning the truth of the factual allegations contained therein, and on that basis denies such allegations. The moderators of the H3 Snark subreddit heavily promoted Denims group viewing session as an alternative to the original. Didn't she say shout out to the H3 Snark mods? If she didn't, she might have an out there. How can I go to jail for murder if I didn't even know murder was legal? So right. You know, you got a point there. The whole thing is, though, is she did know, and she said it multiple times, so these arguments aren't even going to work as soon as it goes to, like, any type of discovery. They're just going to be like, oh, well, here are all the clips, and her lawyer is going to be like, what the fuck, Denims? What the fuck, Gene? 4, defendant denies the allegations in paragraph 4 of the complaint. Paragraph 4 is, like most lazy reaction videos, Denims peppers her group viewing session of TEI's work with primarily brief and sporadic observations, which can be categorized as follows. And here's the part that I don't get to. All of these include, like, very meticulous documentation of the exact, like, moments that they spoke, what they said, things like that. So them trying to argue this, I feel like is going to be like just a fucking, like just literally a slam dunk. Okay, but most frequently Denims will watch long unadulterated portions of the work and briefly pause to give short surface level, and then they give the Andy Warhol thing. Finally, Denims will even do an empty chair reaction, as shown above, where she goes off camera for an extended period of time while letting the video play to keep her audience entertained. This is pretty funny that they're giving examples of everything, they're also giving like references as to why this is important in previous legal cases, like in reference to previous legal cases, and the response is just, I deny that that's true. Defendant denies allegations in paragraph 5 of the complaint. The poverty of Denims' commentary, coupled with her highly commercial use of the work that she specifically intended to serve as substitute for the original, fails to justify copying TEI's work in their entirety. She's just saying that's just untrue. What? Deny it. I deny the allegation. Paragraph 6 contains legal conclusions to which no response is required. Paragraph 7 contains legal conclusions to which no response is required. Paragraph 8 contains legal conclusions to which no response is required. Answering paragraph 9, defendant lacks sufficient knowledge or information to form a belief concerning the truth of factual allegations contained therein, and on that basis denies the allegation. So it really is just, I don't know. TEI is the California corporation with its principal place of business. Okay, I don't think you need to have factual. Wait, what? Am I looking at the wrong thing right now? Am I tricking myself? I'm not. No, I'm definitely not. Why does it matter? Yeah, I don't know. They're in California? Okay. Okay, I don't know. Defendant admits the allegation in paragraph 10 of the complaint. So she admitted to paragraph 10. Denims is an online streamer who releases content on social media platforms, namely Twitch, and resides in Van Nuys, California. My God. Hey, at least they're reading it. They're actually reading the complaint. Answering paragraph 11, defendant lacks sufficient knowledge or information to form a belief concerning the truth of the factual allegation contained. So lacks knowledge in 11. So this is about the H3 snark mods when it goes into the Does, the John and Jane Does 1 through 10. So she's just saying, don't know about that one. Is this literally all the way down just... Nope, no clue. No clue about any of this. The juicy bit is the second half. Legal Mindset said that they're supposed to answer to every paragraph and they usually just admit that their name is correct. Okay, if they just do that for this first half, I guess I can just scroll through it. Yeah, it's all just defendant lacks sufficient knowledge for line after line. I don't need to reread this whole thing again. So we can kind of skip through most of this. Denying all the allegations. Denied everything except for their name. Yeah, just copy and pasted everything for about 8 pages. First claim for relief. For direct copyright infringement against Denims. Defendant realleges and incorporates by reference each and every answer contained in paragraph 1 through 73 as though fully set forth herein. Answering paragraph 75... Wait. Okay, wait. It's still going. My bad. Second claim of relief. Oh, okay, wait. So they denied all this. Yada, yada, yada. Because in the claims of relief, that's them, again, just responding to the original claim of relief. Which is just, which is the money. Show me the money. Trying to find it on here. No, yeah, here's all the timestamps. This is what I mean when I'm like, it's so meticulously done. There's no way that you think that you could just be like, But I guess it's going to have to go to court is the big thing. Fuck am I? $63. All of these have so many parts. H. $80's down here. Yeah, see, these are the claims of relief. Prayer of relief. Any of defendant's actions taken. Okay, I guess I need to read through the affirmation. So, affirmative defenses. Without admitting the truth of any allegations set forth in the complaint, defendant asserts the following affirmative defenses to the complaint and each and every cause of action purportedly stated therein. Imagine being juror for the trial. I mean, I'm pretty sure there, from what I saw, I couldn't. I'd have to buy it on Pacer, and I don't want to get a Pacer account and everything. But there was a Rule 16 notice, which is basically talking about the setting and like everything of the. So I think they are probably going to do a jury trial because they both called for a jury trial. So that would be interesting. Yeah. He said they're all cope instead of hope. I mean, It makes sense that they're kind of just hoping for the best, but it really is cope at the end of the day because there's two outs: fight it till the end and lose, or was there a Rule 34 notice? I didn't see that one. Here, let me Google Rule 34 real quick. It's either they have to admit that they were wrong and just basically eat shit from all the different communities that'll come at them for that, or fight through it and lose. I don't think either of those are really like a good idea. Lust said he thinks it'll be 6 jurors. Well, I think it'll be 8. But these are the affirmative defenses. First affirmative defense, failure to state a claim. The complaint and each and every cause of action set forth therein fails to state facts sufficient to constitute a cause of action upon which relief can be granted against defendant. Every cause of action set forth therein. So they're basically, the argument is basically just that it isn't a big deal. That is kind of what that's saying, right? Fails to state facts sufficient to constitute the cause of action upon which relief can be granted against defendant. So just saying it doesn't reach the bar. Or it's saying that the claims made don't even reach the bar to constitute a cause of action, which is kind of just, I mean, like I said, they've documented like to the second. So I think the complaints probably have a bit of a grounding to them. Second affirmative defense, the complaint and which and each and every cause of action set forth therein is barred in whole or in part, or damages otherwise limited based on the doctrine of fair use under. So just saying, well, this is just fair use. Duh. This is there are the whole. The whole thing is them arguing that you aren't using fair use for the myriad of reasons that they give, including like different data structures and like, you know, timestamps and all types of stuff. Ooh, I mean, what media is going to request to film? Alex, this is your time. H3Y, live from the courtroom. Oh, I'm on this one, I'm on the wrong page. Judge Judy would bury this mofo in one 10-minute episode. She would do it in 8 and then have like a 2-minute monologue at the end. But third affirmative defense, express license. The complaint and each and every cause of action set forth therein is barred in whole or in part to the extent plaintiff granted an express license to any alleged direct infringer's use of plaintiff's copyrighted work. An express license, I'm assuming, is just when he said that Hassan could watch it. Copyright affirmative. So express license. The defendant contends that he, she, other pronoun is not liable for copyright infringement because the plaintiff granted him, her, other pronoun, an express license to copy, distribute, use the plaintiff's copyrighted work. The plaintiff cannot claim copyright infringement against the defendant who copies, distributes, uses the plaintiff's copyrighted work if the plaintiff granted the defendant an express license to. Do you think that they just asked, like, well, what do you have for copyright? Well, he said anybody could use it. Do you think that's what she said? No, that's what I mean, is they're literally going to try and argue out of context clips when all it takes... like, that's not how Discovery works. Discovery is literally going to shit on you for using fucking out of context clips. Yeah, like, that's so stupid. This one actually like is outrageous to me because that's just so dumb. Yeah, it's the clip where Ethan says clip channels are fine to repost, and then it cuts off where he says to not steal whole episodes. And that's true, but that's also not true for the video. He made that claim about the podcast that has nothing to do with the H3H3 Productions channel, which is where the content nuke was posted, which was under copyright at the time of its posting. He gave Hassan an express license. That would be Hassan's argument, not anybody else's. And then implied license. Okay. Fourth affirmative defense, implied license. The complaint and each and every cause of action set forth therein is barred in whole or in part to the extent plaintiff granted an implied license to any alleged direct infringer's use of plaintiff's copyrighted work. What's the implied license? Because it's on YouTube? That's if that's like the argument they're going to use is because it was posted to YouTube. That would be stupid because there's literally movies that are posted to YouTube that you can't just watch freely. Like, if they're talking about, I don't, here, let me look up what implied license means in copyright like I did for express license. Copyright. Oh, wait. Here we go. The defendant contends that he, she, other pronoun is not liable for copyright infringement because the plaintiff granted him, her, other pronoun, an implied license in the plaintiff's copyrighted work. The plaintiff cannot... So what is an implied... in order to show the existence of an implied license, the defendant has the burden of proving that, first, the defendant requested that the plaintiff create the work. Wait, what? Let me make sure I'm reading this right. In order to show the existence of an implied license, the defendant has the burden of proving that, first, the defendant requested that the plaintiff create the work, or create a work. Second, the plaintiff made that particular work and delivered it to the defendant. And third, the plaintiff intended that the defendant copy, distribute, use, modify, retain the plaintiff's work. This is so dumb. Here, R. Kelly is playing. Let me turn R. Kelly up. I'm like...
Now, I would like to get to know you and talk to you.
Fifth affirmative defense, unclean hands. Plaintiff claims are barred in whole or in part by the equitable doctrine of unclean hands. Sorry, I'm having to look up what all these terms mean.
Willing to split the difference, come to America and see me. I come out here to see you in Ethiopia. But it's so hard to get back and forth, Problem.
I guess they're saying because his intention was for them to
America.
Or it wasn't his intention, but he did it with the knowledge. He did that in knowing that they would infringe on his copyrights. That's kind of what they're saying by unclean hands. That's at least my assumption. I was trying to get it from the same website I'm using. This website is pretty good.
I got it. Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots?
Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America? America.
Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots?
Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America?
Do you have your passport? Did you get
But yeah, I think it's just because they're saying that he created the video in with the deceitful intention of getting them to infringe on his copyright, which is kind of stupid because I've heard Legal Mindset say this, that the easiest way to not fall into the trap is to not hop over the person's fence and go into the yard, you know, stuff like that. So it's like there are like precautions that were set up beforehand. Like, you wouldn't have broken the copyright if you reacted better. If you didn't react very shittily, you could have probably not been, you know, included in this lawsuit. But the sixth affirmative defense waiver, the complaint and each and every cause of action set forth therein is barred in whole or in part by the doctrine of waiver. A legal waiver. Should do doctrine of waiver. Doctrine of waiver is a legal principle where the party voluntarily relinquishes a known right, claim, or privilege. This can be done either explicitly through a clear statement or implicitly through conduct that suggests the intention to give up the right according to legal resources. It's essentially an intentional abandonment of something one is entitled to say's law cites. Oh, entitled to says law cites. Then you put a break there, comma or something. But okay, these are just weird because it's like that you were never in any type of or I guess you wouldn't need to be in correspondence for waiver, but I mean, I don't see when Ethan would have ever said that it was okay to react to the video. Because like I'm saying, you can react to it fairly and say that you've met the standard for fair use up to whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you could argue that, but that's not the point that they're arguing. They're arguing that he gave up his ability to argue copyright. Yeah, if they're still just arguing it based on that clip channels thing, like I'm saying, I think that that's their worst argument that they can use. If they're going to use literally that like short cut out of context clip where Ethan says that you can create clip channels of H3 content, he's talking about the podcast on the podcast channel, and that does not have any relation to the content created for the H3 Productions channel, and then would probably kind of lose credibility in that regard. Especially because he also said you can't just wholly re-upload our content in that same clip later on. So, damn, this one's loud. Some of these songs I'm just trying to have them as background, but they like end up coming in so crazily loud. Let's get restarted in here. I'm watching in 144p because YouTube is shitting the bed and I feel like I'm Donna and that cursed call. See, I've only done that a few times. My internet was honestly terrible the other day, and I'm so glad that it's like kind of been better since. I don't think YouTube's been having too many problems. Let me see. Let me see my stream health. Okay, we haven't had any cutouts or anything yet, which is good. But yeah, everything's moving along. Estoppel. The doctrine of estoppel. This is all a lie. It's all fake. Ethan Klein is a liar. He is being deceitful, Mr. Judge. Your Honor. Mr. or Mrs. Judge. The doctrine of estoppel prevents a party from asserting a legal position that contradicts their prior conduct, statements, or a previous legal determination. Wait, this is an interesting one. So the doctrine of estoppel prevents a party from asserting a legal position that contradicts their prior conduct statements or a previous legal determination. It's an equitable doctrine used to prevent unfairness and injustice when someone relies on another's action or words to their detriment. Essentially, it stops someone from blowing hot or cold by taking inconsistent positions. So this is probably one of the most fair arguments that they could make, but the reason that I think it falls short is because it is not arguing a counter position to the Haas versus Klein, the Hazen, I don't even remember Hazendaw, what is it? The Hagendaws? The one with Matt Haas. The Matt Haas case, it is all arguing the limitations of fair use. And that is, like, that isn't a hot or cold situation, which I feel like is kind of interesting.
Hey bro, you ever heard of this Ryan Kavanaugh dude? Who? Ryan Kavanaugh.
So I think that it's probably their best argument they have here, but I do also think that it's lacking in that way. You like David Guda's DJ support? Well, now we have the Ryan Kavanaugh diss track by Suki. I got these from Alex. I don't know what the names are on a lot of them.
We gon' keep on winning cases, ain't no sympathy for foes. We gon' pop you like a sody, I ain't talking Diet Coke. Babe Nation, what we reppin', we gon' always.
Yeah, Haagen-Dazs versus Ben and Jerry. That was the big case.
When you pay my money back, I better have that shit in full. I just beat another op and now I'm moving to the next. I ain't never gonna stop. HC Pod, we the best. And shout out to the people that be jealous cause they hate us. Shout out Keemstar, man.
Oh, so finally we get the eighth affirmative defense is the justification / excuse. Any of defendant's actions taken with respect to plaintiff were justified and or excused, thereby barring plaintiff's claim. It was justified. It was justifiable, Your Honor. Ninth affirmative defense, consent. The complaint and each and every cause of action set forth therein is barred in whole or in part to the extent plaintiff expressly or impliedly Isn't this supposed to be implicitly? They put implicitly earlier. Is impliedly a word? It is a word. I've just never heard someone say impliedly. They just said implicitly earlier too, which makes this weird. Okay, but sorry. The complaint and each and every cause of action set forth therein is barred in whole or in part to the extent plaintiff expressly or impliedly consented to the alleged action and omission by defendant as described in the complaint. So they're saying Ethan implied consent, probably again arguing the Clips channel. 10th affirmative defense, innocent infringement. The complaint and each cause of action therein is barred in whole or in part or damage otherwise limited as to defendant to the extent any infringing activity by defendant was innocent. So this also falls short purely because she said, thank you for coming here instead of going and watching it on that channel. Shout out the H3 mod, shout out the H3 Snark mods, yada yada yada, all this stuff. So dumb. My kiddo overheard some of the Dan Clancy covers earlier. She was dancing and singing bum 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 bum. So real. But yeah, it was all innocent. Denims didn't mean to do any of it. The 11th affirmative defense is no injury or damages. The complaint and each cause of action therein is barred in whole or in part or damages otherwise limited as the defendant to the extent plaintiff suffered no injuries or damages. Well, the damages are the amount of views that you got that could have gone to the H3 Productions channel. So again, that's just not a good argument. because it's an implied damages. Yeah, you don't have the direct analysis made by, you know, of the one-to-one of people that went to the channel and went, I'm not going to watch it here, I'm going to watch it on Denims instead. But there is, like, again, implicit, you know, kind of damage, implicit damages you could derive from it. Yeah, this one's a classic right here. 12th affirmative defense. Good faith. The complaint and each cause of action therein is barred in whole or in part or damages otherwise limited to defendant to the extent defendant acted in good faith and without any intent of injuring plaintiff. But I thought they weren't injured. But also, again, this isn't true because you literally said, thank you for coming here instead of going there. I didn't realize that would reduce the amount of money they made. Yeah, I think we're all locked in on the music. That's why I'm just getting through this. I mean, the lawsuit's becoming the background noise at this point, if we're being completely honest. Do I need to turn it off or something? Honestly, my thing is just too loud. I turned it down almost all the way, and it's still, like, kind of a little bit louder than it should be. 15th affirmative defense, latches, or I don't know if I'm saying this right, locks, latches. The complaint and each and every cause of action set forth therein is barred in whole or in part by the equitable doctrine of latches. I've never heard of this. Latches, I don't know. Latches is an equitable defense used to bar claims that were not pursued diligently, causing prejudice to the opposing party. It's a principle rooted in fairness and prevents plaintiffs from reviving claims after an unreasonable delay. To successfully invoke latches, a defendant must demonstrate an unreasonable delay by the plaintiff in bringing the complaint, and that this delay has caused prejudice. Well, I mean, they didn't really delay. It came within a few, like, you know, within half a year of when it happened. So, I mean, that's pretty quick if you ask me. In terms of like a legal case being started. The legal mindset. See, I was thinking about watching the legal mindset video on this, but it was just an hour long, and I knew I'd end up making it like 2.5 hours. I thought reading through it would be a little bit faster, which it has been. I feel like the Kaceytron one's probably just going to reassert a lot of these same claims over and over again. The complaint and each purported claim of relief. So lack of notice. The complaint and each purported claim of relief therein is barred in whole or in part to the extent that plaintiff failed to provide defendant adequate notice that defendant's acts infringed on plaintiff's copyrights. I don't think that's true. He gave them time to like settle and gave them time to... I feel like that's just... I guess I don't know too much. Go ask Legal Mindset. Maybe he knows more. But on that claim, I would kind of just say that what would be adequate notice? Send you an email first and be like, hey, I just wanted to let you know you broke my copyright. Yeah. You didn't DMCA me first. 18th affirmative defense. Reservation of additional defenses. Defendant reserves the right to assert additional defenses as discovery and investigation of the facts continue. So just basically leaving it open as soon as discovery opens up that they are just fucking lying about everything. Great stuff. Wherefore, defendant prays for judgment against plaintiff as follows. That the complaint be dismissed with prejudice, and in its entirety, the plaintiff take nothing by reason of the complaint. that defendant be awarded her costs and attorney fees incurred in defending this action, and that defendant be granted such other and further reliefs as the court may deem just and proper. Dated August 14th, 2025. Yeah, how are you responding to this if you weren't given notice? No, exactly. I mean, it's not like you just show up in court one day, right? And that's my whole point too, is like they had like the time to settle, the time to give any kind of like little defense or whatever. Yeah, Alex, you do need to make a playlist of all of these. Let's see if this is literally just the same thing as the denim ones. I think they hit all the... I think they hit all the same beats. Let's see. Failure to state a claim. Fair use doctrine. Express license. Implied license. Unclean hands. Waiver. Estoppel. Justification. Excuse. Consent. Innocent infringement. No injury or damages. Good faith. Inequitable conduct. Unjust enrichment. Oh, here. This is a different one. Some of these are different. Inequitable conduct, I think, was on this one, yes. No, I guess not. Inequitable conduct, the complaint, and each cause of action therein is barred or whole in part, otherwise... Yeah, so I guess that's the same thing as saying that he was being unjust. He didn't do it right. Unjust enrichment. Plaintiff would be unjustly enriched if allowed to recover to the extent as alleged in the complaint. Well, I mean, that's just an argument about what's a justifiable, like, you know, recompense or whatever. Like, how do you atone for your sins? Failure to register copyright. The complaint and each and every cause of action set forth therein is barred in whole or in part to the extent plaintiff failed to properly or timely register copyrights of the alleged work. What? Did this lawyer just not look into the copyright? Which every lawyer I've seen thinks this is so dumb. Yeah, they literally copy and paste it, which would make sense. Less money on lawyers, more money for Ethan when he wins. So true. Yes, they must be trying to win some time by throwing all of this on the wall. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it gives them time to try and go through each point, but I feel like each of these points are so easily, like, broken down. This one alone just seems so dumb. Failed to properly or timely register copyrights of the alleged works. Yeah, they had to go for the budget lawyer. So true. Gotta be honest, I haven't heard a thing you said in the last 30 minutes. I'm just vibing to the music. Sorry, guys. Can't play this music and ask me to pay attention. Hey, it's just getting into your psyche, you know? It's getting into your brain subconsciously, and you'll be able to just rattle this stuff off like a sleeper cell when the time comes. It's how we do mind control over here. It's how we do brainwashing with H3 propaganda. We're propagandizing for H3. Ooh, spooky. Yeah, what was the GoFundMe's for if this is what they spent on lawyers? I don't know. Well, because it's funny when Legal Mindset said too that they would be spending more on the lawyers anyways. Like their lawyers would be more than what they were asking for in the GoFundMe's, and would be a lot more than they would ever have to, or it would be a lot less than anything they would have to send to Ethan, which is just so stupid. But lack of notice, same thing. Reservation of additional defenses. Wherefore, defendant prays for this judgment against plaintiff as follows: that the complaint be dismissed with prejudice and in its entirety. That plaintiff take nothing by reason of the complaint. that defendant be awarded her costs and attorney's fees incurred in defending this action, and the defendant be granted such other and further relief as the court may deem just and proper. This is the cult they speak of. We vibe into music. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Both of those we've covered. Let me see if I had something else pulled up on the side. Oh, we could actually watch this. Legal Mindset did a video. Oh wait, no, this is actually two. See, I know we don't necessarily find Legal Mindset to be the best guy. He says some stuff. I saw, let me read this out. I saw this thing that was so funny. Andrew Esquire. You know what's so funny? This Andrew Tate song sounds exactly like something Bottom G would dance to. Now this is the good one. Sorry, I need to let this one play through. If Andrew Tate would have just stuck to music, he could have had a banger career, am I right? Am I right? Andrew Esquire, aka Legal Mindset, downplays Asian slur. He really said, it depends on how you say it. There's no way you can say that slur and make it an endearment term.
My understanding is that it depends on the context and how you're using that. Like, if you're using it in a clear way that's a slur, then it's a slur. If you're using it in a way that's not necessarily a slur, then it might not be as offensive, right? So to me, I having known people in Japan and having talked to a lot of people there, especially people that are Japanese American or both, I think it depends on how you say it. And once again, this isn't like...
That might be true. Even if this is true, I don't think Americans ever use it in like in a friendly context. What up, my Jap? It's crazy. I've only literally heard that used recently too, when by Bryce Mitchell from the UFC, after he was talking about how much he loves Hitler. He was talking about Japanese people in internment camps, and he was like, what were we supposed to do?
My stream is more free speech, on the side of free speech versus censorship and being, too hardened. And first of all, I'm just reading what he said, right? So that's his word. I think he may have meant it in a slur way. I, of course, am just reading it. I do not intend it that way. Well, I love the Japanese people. I love...
What a guy. I do have to say, I have to end off a little bit early today. I'm gonna put up the poll though. We're gonna probably watch one video and then I'm gonna have to go because I got some stuff I need to do. This dude looks like the Baldwin brother. Looks like a Baldwin brother a little bit. I can see it. I was expecting reading the legal documents to take the whole time, but I wasn't expecting them to just be copy and pasted. God damn it, I have the hiccups. But what I was thinking is there's Hassan Piker guilty of terroristic threats, which I think might be interesting. But there's also Hassan is right about Kick, sort of. What will you do without me? I don't know. Let's hope they start early. Here.
Hassan Piker guilty of making a terroristic threat against podcaster Ethan Klein's wife, Gila Klein. We'll talk about today on The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, commenting on the latest in legal news. And of course, is the facts version, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. And if you like the format and like the topic, please let me know in the comments below and like the video. So today we're getting into yet another comment by one Hassan Piker, who has made it kind of his profession of making statements.
Alex just straight up demanding it in chat. L capping for real. I'm sorry. Gotta drive across town. Gotta go get milk. Sorry, Peter.
On the internet that draw the line, that really are dancing on the line between free speech and illegality. And this is something he's become very, very adept at just dancing across this line. So today we're going to get into a particular instance where he deemed the wife of podcaster Ethan Klein, Gila Klein, a quote unquote valid military target. Now, whether or not this is illegal really dances on the fact and the context of how he intended that. So we're going to talk about the two different intentions that he could have had, one of which is likely criminal and one of which is likely not criminal. So we're going to get into that today. So let me get into this video and the reaction from some people, such as Asmongold here, to the deeming of Gila Klein, once again, wife of podcaster Ethan Klein, as a valid military target. So let's get into this reaction so you can kind of see the two perspectives, the Hassan perspective and the anti-Hassan perspective.
If it's your favorite podcasters like wife that participate in these raids, the violence that the Palestinians engage in an act of resistance against this illegal occupying force is literally legal, definitionally legal. Okay? It's just the truth. And
no, it's not. If somebody attacks Gila Klein, they're going to go to jail. Why is he telling people this? Why would he be set? What is wrong with you?
Oh, we do have a title for today. No thumbnail yet. iDubbbz is a stinky, lazy loser and has no friends. We already knew that.
So, and he later goes on to talk about the Twitch terms of service and also talk about, potentially referring to this to the FBI. So the kind of conflict here is people look at this and say, is this a criminal statement? Is this some sort of threat? Like, where's this going? And so
I know I'm going to end it early today and I'm going to end up weeding myself out. You're so right, Lou Zam. It's going to just, I end early today and then what of me next week? Will I even start? Who knows? Like and subscribe to find out, please. Please.
So I cooked up, of course, a lovely PowerPoint for you guys to talk about Hassan's Gila threat and whether or not this is criminal or not. Of course, in the past, Hassan has made edgy statements. He's brought people on his podcast that are indeed questionable. We have, of course, here, as we call him, Timothy Chalamet, or wannabe Luffy over here, a guy who may or may not be affiliated with a designated terrorism group. Certainly he cosplays and dresses up like he is, but perhaps he's denied he is part of it, etc. But one way or another, Hassan is no stranger to having people on his podcast that at least represent in their external image or project in.
See, I mean, it's just stupid. Yeah, like they would obviously go to jail, even in Israel or whatever. Like someone just attacking them, like, yeah, you guys are gonna get fucking. They do that. Yeah, tell them to do that in Gaza. They're gonna get fucking murdered. That's terrible. It's terrible advice to give. It's totally legally, morally justifiable.
An image of being aligned with a Western designated, rather globally designated. Most developed countries have designated these individuals as terrorists. So he's certainly gone there in the past, and currently this argument related to Gila Klein really centers over what tense they were using. So let's talk about that. Designating Gila as a valid military target. So he described the wife of Ethan Klein, Gila Klein, as a valid military target, which implies that a valid military target means, as he said, if you use force against them, and in the larger clip, the broader clip, he mentions use of force, not just by militaries, right, but by terrorist groups. So he's saying the terrorist groups, and he lists off a a whole bucket list of terrorist groups or designated terrorist groups, etc., and says any of those people targeting this person would be a valid military target. Now, the problem here is that Gila Klein, the wife of Ethan Klein, became a U.S. citizen in 2019. There was a very public naturalization process, which was put on YouTube. It's plastered everywhere. You can find out that she became a U.S. citizen in 2019. Therefore, in present year, 2025, that would be a U.S. citizen. So there is a little bit of a question about targeting a current U.S. citizen by foreign forces or directing threats towards a current U.S. citizen. That is the core of the problem. However, all clips must be taken in full context. And for disclosure, I did watch the entire segment. So while I'm just showing you a portion, because I want to keep this a quick video, I did watch the entire segment. And I always try to be professional and objective, and I put my feelings aside, which once again, I can care less one way or another about Hassan. I really do not lose sleep at night because of Hassan Piker. However, there are ways to take this that are favorable to Hassan and disfavorable to Hassan, even within that context. And the problem is that Hassan has an inconsistency, and this inconsistency is bouncing from present to past tense. And in present tense,
that was the point that I made, was that he said it doesn't matter if your favorite podcast host's wife did raids, or participated in raids, I think is the way he worded it, which is then the past tense saying that it happened before. That makes her a valid military target currently.
He may very well be a criminal, but in past tense, he may have an arguable defense. So let's talk about past versus present. Of course, here we got past Hassan eating cake with a spoon, and of course his present GQ shoot, which everyone was such a big fan of. And of course, he both posted. These are both pictures he posted himself.
I also want to make this point. I gotta look him up now, young. Hassan's always talked about, like, I was like a fat kid. I was like a fat kid. Look a little pudgy, bro. Looked like probably like how I was. Just a little pudgy. But this ain't fat. And that picture of him when he was on a horse. It's all lies. He's a fraud.
This is not secret information here, but we're going to talk about the difference. So let's get into present tense. So present tense is where the criminality kind of becomes a problem, because if Hassan intended, his intention with that statement, or the overall context of that, or the overall meaning was Gila Klein is currently a valid military target, or if he intended that Gila Klein was in the past and still remains a valid military target, that is a massive problem. If this was the intention, it's a problem, because that would likely be a criminal terroristic threat. Now, terroristic threat is a broad term. There is no one specific law that is the only terroristic threat law. There are a lot of laws that can involve in that, because a terroristic threat usually involves violence, intimidation, and those are violations of state law. Every state has laws against violence, intimidation, even some have rules against cyberbullying, etc., right, which would all be state law. There are also federal laws which come into play, particularly if you are called.
Okay, actually, I take it back. In the photo of him on the horse, he is a little bit pudgier there, but it's like some baby fat. One rich ass kid, if I do say so myself. He's a little bit pudgier here. Just a little fat in the face. You know what Hassan looks like? He looks like that kid that was like a little bit overweight, but was also like the bully to everybody. Like, you could have easily roasted him, but he was also just like an asshole for some reason to everybody else instead. Is he riding in some kind of competition, or is this like a ribbon? Chicken
calling
jockey.
upon foreign forces, whether they are paramilitary forces or the military forces of other countries, if you're calling upon the military to target a U.S. citizen, yes, that could very much fall under a lot of terrorism statutes or invitation to terrorism or directing that. And calling for any sort of threat to a U.S. citizen is a massive problem, even as a U.S. citizen, particularly post 2001, right? Post 9/11, right? The laws have changed in that era, and we are well into that era. We're 24 years down that era, so we're well aware of that jurisprudence, and that could very well land somebody in jail if they're making that sort of threat. However, we don't know whether he was making during the present tense, at least we can't say for sure, or the past tense. Because if Hassan intended to say that Hila Klein was, past tense, a valid military target in the past, or he intended to say Hila Klein was, but is no longer a valid military target, that is arguably free speech and defensible. Now, I know some people may have a problem with that and may think, okay, well, it's disgusting, it's immoral. Yes, but even disgusting things, immoral things can technically be free speech. People are free to say things that you disagree with, even vehemently disagree with, even strongly disagree with, even think are disgusting. Those aren't necessarily illegal. And when I say defensible, I mean defensible legally. So if he was brought to court, the charges were brought up, and this is the intention. The thing is, international law, the thing that he loves to talk about and pretend he's an expert
Well,
in.
to be fair, he tried to just denounce it wholly and said, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant. So, I don't know.
That is arguable and ambiguous every single way. And one of the reasons why a lot of these people like to talk geopolitics is you can argue whatever, and there's always going to be something to justify it. If you dig in international law, which I've deeply studied and done many courses on, you can make up an argument every way. And in every modern conflict, every single modern conflict, you can look at the existing on the books international law and say, you know what? I can argue this as self-defense, or I can argue this as justified, or I can argue this as a war crime. There's ability to argue it every single way. And as we say, often the victor, or the people that are perceived as the victor, get to spin that narrative under international law their way. And that's just how it goes, whether we like it or not, which is why a lot of people like to talk about this, because they can pull up any argument and just kind of make it that way. But I would give a warning that if you are ever brought up on war crimes at The Hague or UN, etc., if you're dragged into the tribunal, please do not hire Hassan Piker to defend you. He is not qualified to defend you at these bodies. Although the thing is about many of these tribunals is a lot of times, especially on the state level and the national level, they really have toothless enforcement. They rely on self-enforcement or rely on the countries to go ahead with the criminal enforcement, etc. So they're kind of hard to enforce. But that said, I still wouldn't hire Hassan Piker to defend you. So what's my conclusion here? My conclusion is Hassan can reasonably argue the statement was in past tense. He can say, hey, look, this was a past tense statement, and therefore he's unlikely to be convicted. That means thrown in jail as a form of terroristic threat. Of course, guys, on this channel, I call balls and strikes. I don't say, hey, this person's going to jail forever if it's not a situation where it is. And this is simply one where you cannot convict Hassan beyond a reasonable doubt that that was a terroristic threat. It's just not possible. However, for those that want to sit out there and say, oh, but Hassan makes me angry, there are some other points that you should bring, that I can bring up. It is possible there could be investigation. Sure, law enforcement could look into it. Law enforcement could also develop.
I mean, what is there to look into, to be completely honest, though? It is kind of just like, it's a nothing burger if he can just lie and be like, well, I didn't mean it now. I just misspoke slightly.
A overall binder, or what you call a dossier, on Hassan Piker, and build up all of these things he's saying.
Now that's the thing.
To concoct overall a pattern of behavior which displays certain things which may be questionable or
which could be the hope. I mean, federally, he's got to be broken some laws.
In the future, he makes a statement which is in line with the negative interpretation, then you better believe all of these statements he's made are going to come out. And further, we all know that Hassan Piker was denied his global entry, which is something that people who go through extensive background checks and stuff like me can go in and out of the United States as freely as they want, whenever they want, with expedited clearing. This is a privilege. This is not a right. Yes, you get a passport, which still is a privilege, not a right. But global entry is a privilege above that privilege of having a passport. It's a privilege of going through the line quickly. Well, this is more than sufficient grounds to continue to deny Hassan privileges like global entry. And as much as he wants to have the, 5-star LA mansion life and go through everything like a breeze, he's going to have to stand in the line with the plebs, the poor plebs.
Hey, man.
That, he
Stand with your
doesn't have
people,
to deal with in
Mr.
LA.
Socialist.
He's going to have to stand in line with them because he's not going to be getting global entry anytime soon, I think. And further, if he continues to make future statements, it may be an issue that are careless. But I will say, to be bipartisan, this is not just something that applies to people on one side of the political spectrum. This applies with eagle veracity, meaning equal veracity, equal strength to both sides of the aisle, right, left, center, whatever you are. You need to be careful about what you're saying on the internet. And this is a serious problem for streamers. But guys, let me know what you think about Hassan's statements in the comments below.
I think that's pretty crazy. I'm going to add Papa Gut to go. You guys can go watch him. Did that work? I hope that worked. That should have worked. It's a redirect. Did the redirect work? Well, I'm going to have to send everyone to Papa Gut. He's talking about Denims right now, too, so I feel like it's a good little transition for everybody. The podcast should be starting in not too long. Still no thumbnail yet, it kind of sucks, but I really do appreciate everybody that stopped. And remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Tell Papa Gut that you're coming from Cap and Quasar and see if he goes, who the hell is that? He called me gay. I won't forget that, Papa Gut. I won't forget that. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Again, I really do appreciate it. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you. This is Cap and Quasar signing off. No, I got owned by Internet Tough Guy last second.